There's a saying that goes, every season of your life demands a new version of yourself. And currently we are in this, I would say, the most transitional time of the year. We're in the eclipse season, and soon we'll have a lunar eclipse, a complete lunar eclipse. Then it follows the solar eclipse at the time of the new moon. Planet Venus went into retrograde, which means that usually challenges related to self-worth and self-respect, honoring the real you, arise, especially when your lifestyle is based on something that's not aligned with you anymore. So when planet Venus goes into retrograde, many times people go through kind of changes in their main relationships. Sometimes people break up during this time. It's just how energies influence us. And right now we are in this time. There's another big thing that's happening. Planet Neptune, after 150 years, goes into a sign of Aries. And this is quite a significant event because firstly, Aries is the sign of forward movement, having a sort of a goal and moving towards it. It's more of an action taker. And Neptune is about spirituality, so it is often associated with our spirit, with our intuition, or better said, with your soul. And urging you to actualize what you feel intuitively that should be done. So this is a big event, and it means that everything that's felt intuitively should be somehow put into action. And because most of our life we build based on ego and old identity, well, this is crumbling right now. Your old identity is crumbling because you know you're not that old version of yourself. Sometimes we stay identified with who we were in our childhood, or I don't know, in school, or 10 years ago, or 5 years ago. But, well, life is teaching us, live in the present moment and make choices out of what feels right today, not what felt right yesterday. And this is a big realization because more we are awakening, more we are realizing that, well, all we have is this moment. So why wouldn't we live for this moment and from this moment rather than from the past? When you choose to live from this moment, you choose to see your vision based by who you can be, based by a potential that was kind of planted into your heart as sort of a vision of what could you actualize here. And therefore you create some type of goals out of it. So your path of life can become driven by purpose, by meaning, and by some sort of values that make your life fulfilling and your experiences the most valuable. So one day you can look back and can be quite grateful for what you've done and how your life went. So yes, that's why this is the most transitional time, because all these energies are very, very potent. And it just feels like everything we've been doing until now is being questioned. Especially things that are not really aligned with you. And you've been doing them maybe from not wrong reasons, but from mental reasons. Because something I've noticed in my life was that I had a mental picture of how I want to live my life, but it never fulfilled me. So I always felt something is missing. When I had my dream job and I was surrounded with incredible people and I was doing what I loved, and I was kind of embracing some kind of career back at that time that I felt very passionate about it, and I had incredible goals around it. But I also knew that this is not the thing. But it's all I know, so I'm going for it. So at some point, this feeling that this is not right or something is missing became so strong that I needed to make a plan to investigate it. And for back at that time, the plan was save enough money so I can quit that job, even though it was a job that once was my dream. I needed to quit it. And the day I quitted my job and I faced with the reality of that time that was like, oh, there's so much time here, I've started drawing, I've started creating, like something within me would open up. And that's when I've noticed, okay, there's a mental desire and there's a heart's desire. And heart's desire can't come to the surface if your mind is too focused on something that's not even yours. And sometimes what life requires from us is to step back a little bit, to slow down, so you can really hear yourself. So you can hear yourself and what your heart is really saying to you. And I know this sounds poetic when I say what your heart says to you, but we are in the time where what's not coming from the heart is crumbling. What's coming from the ego is crumbling. That's why the old systems are crumbling. And there's so much of division and fights and uncertainty. While the only thing that truly feels certain is when you're present and doing what feels the most right according to your heart. And you find certainty in the present moment. And certainty feels like trust. It's kind of a sense of faith into life. And when everything else seems failing, life keeps going on. And you become more aware of where this stream of life is taking you and what you need to let go of so you can move with the stream. Which is just the opposite of being passive and waiting something. It's actually being aware and being very conscious of where your life is taking you. And usually at this point, people become very aware, their sensitivity arises, and they become very aware about their natural abilities that they've suppressed due to their kind of a need to belong, to fit into society. And that's something that is just awakening in many people. It's just what I'm seeing around me. Like so many people are going through the biggest transitions in their lives. In careers, relationships, letting go of so many things. And those who are more stubborn, they're having a bit of a hard time deciding, or letting go of some false desires because they think it will make them weak or it will make them failures. But the thing is just we don't know what's on the other side. Like I had no idea that when I will quit my job, I will actually start creating what took me onto a whole new journey where I became a painter, I became an artist, and then I've started this YouTube channel, and then all this journey just started from that moment. And so when it comes to these energies right now, I'm an artist, and many times when I talk about this kind of topics, I connect it with the most recent creation I've been working on, because I receive a vision, I receive a picture in my mind's eye. And when I look back, all my paintings are so related to that time in which they were created, when it comes to energies, when it comes to where I was and how everything was going. So I've noticed, okay, maybe that's how the universe speaks to me so I can be a messenger to the collective. And it's interesting on what kind of painting I'm working on right now and what painting I've finished. I've just finished a painting called The Flame of Life, which is a painting of kind of a, if you would put the energy of passion into a picture, that's what you would find. There's a tiger with a blue flame in its heart, and there's the sunrise at the top of its head. And there's this whole description of this painting on AttractPassion.com. If you type into the search The Flame of Life, you will find it. Then there's the second painting I'm just working on right now, and I'm somewhere in the middle of the process. It's the field of desert. And then in the middle of the painting there will be a rose that's like flying in the air. And I will not share all the details with you because it's a secret. It's a secret. No, it's not, but I will wait until the painting is finished, because sometimes it takes me a bit deeper and it ends up a bit different than how I've seen it at the beginning. So we will see, but the symbolism is so incredible because so many people felt for most of their lives like living in the desert. They've been surrounded with people, but they felt lonely. They had financial abundance or financial freedom and all material things they needed, but they felt broke. They had a shelter, a house, a roof above their heads, but they felt like they're not at home. So they felt dry, they felt empty. And there's this interesting story that says married people want to divorce. Alone people want to marry. Rich people want to have more time. Broke people want to be rich. And it goes on and on and on, and the message is wanting something is a state of chasing. And as long as you live your life in a state of chasing, you will be like in the desert, chasing for the water. And the whole point is that you transcend the state of chasing into a state of being. And in the state of being, you recognize there's something interesting about your being. There's something unique about you that the world maybe hasn't noticed, because it's your job to notice, and it's your job to value it, to respect it, to notice what makes you unique. And that is what some people would say a spiritual journey. This is a big thing right now that many people are just waking to. And as you start exploring, like, what are your very unique qualities? What are your unique skills? What are your unique talents? It's not that they're finished and they're complete. It's like when you notice them, you also notice the drive that urges you to explore them and expand them and stretch them and use them for a sense of service. That's when you become like a sun. And that's when you start to notice like this rose that will be like flying. It's like you've been planted wherever. And most probably you've been not planted in the most ideal environment, which is okay. It provided you an ability to become resourceful, to build strength that you will need later in your life, which is great. But then discovering why you've been planted at the first place. As this famous quote says, there are two most important days in your life. The first one is the day you've been born, and the second one is the day you find out why. I can't remember who said that, but he's a famous writer. And so many people are waking up into their purpose. And I've noticed, okay, the mission of a mentor usually is to just help people direct them into what is their purpose. And then they will spread their wings and fly. And that's what I believe this painting is all about. The symbol of this time. For so many people who are waking up, they're slowly beginning to notice their own value, their own worth, their own uniqueness, their own authenticity. And as you start embracing that, as you start embracing your sensitivity, your skills, your talents, your God-given gifts, you will eventually start to feel like you can use them. And as you start to think how to use them, you start to think, maybe, is there someone who already did that? And you start looking for mentors, for guides, for teachers. And rather than just looking for knowledge, you are now looking for something tangible, something practical that can be applied in your life, and you come across responsibility, like you awaken to a sense of responsibility, like I need to be responsible to grow my wings in a symbolic language, which may mean that, well, if you want to take yourself out of the desert, you need to find out how to use what God gave you for the benefit of others. And that's where we learn the process of in between, which is usually the process of being a bit more selfish, because you go into this season of learning and growing and exploring and expanding. And that's what's the difference between what usually people think about being helpful, like I just want to help everyone, and that's a good quality, which is a wonderful quality, but not if your cup is empty. So you go through the process of filling up your cup because you discover what you're truly passionate about, and then you manage your life the way you can do more of these things you are actually driven and passionate about. And then through doing that, you find a way how to serve others with it. And that's when you start using your sensitivity to transform what used to be painful for you into some kind of a process of healing. And that is beautiful. So if you find this time very challenging or transitioning, consider to really slow down and reflect on anything that is limiting you. If that's money, reflect on your financial beliefs. Because life will always project you back what you believe to be true. And nothing in this life is good or bad, it's just how we choose to explain it and define it. And what life is asking from you is to learn the language of freedom. Learn the language of freedom. And usually, in simple way, it's explained as let go. Let go of anything that is weighting you down and replace it for what will help you to fly. And again, it's poetic language, but practically it means let go of the old life, let go of the old identity, let go of all the things that are weighting you down. Maybe old people, old relationships, whatever, old jobs, whatever. Maybe not just immediately, but think about it. And then think about what would make you feel like you fly, like you really love life, like you flourish. As Pablo Picasso said, work makes me relaxed. Managing customers makes me drained. And we all should find some kind of a work that makes us feel alive, that makes us relax, that feels like this is my life task, this is why I've been born. And of course it's a journey of discovery, and that's an adventurous part of life, which sometimes feels like we're just wandering in the darkness. That's a part of an adventure. Like when you go to travel and you really decide to go into an adventure, well, weird things may happen. You may get robbed. You may have an accident. You may fall down the stairs. All kinds of things may happen. But at the end of that journey, you will say it was an incredible adventure. And you will come out wiser, right? You may begin like a fool, but you will end up like a wise man or woman. And that's the point. So if for months you feel lost during this time, or weeks maybe, or days, just know that you will not be lost forever. Longer you ponder in the darkness, sooner you will find something that enlightens you. And once you find it, it will free you. And you don't need to force it. You just need to be patient with yourself and be an observer. Be an observer, and when it feels the hardest is when you're doing the most healing. If you don't choose to just distract yourself with social media and all kinds of things that are available to you, but you choose to sit with it and see if there is some insight in your body, because your body knows what you need and what you've come here to do. But it will not tell you in simple words. It will usually tell you in feelings. So look for what feels raw. Look for what feels alive. Look for what feels simplistic, fun, and like growth. And go for it. Because it will provide you what you truly seek. Sometimes it's not in books, but in experiences. Eventually, it's actually more in experiences than any book. And when you choose to follow it and listen to your body, how it responds to what you're doing, you will notice that you don't need much to know what is right. And I feel this is the greatest thing that's happening right now on the world. To those of you who are in tune with the stream, we could say, the cosmic stream, right? So stay in tune with it. I will leave you here. I hope you found something valuable today. And big thanks to all of you who are choosing to support my art. With that, you're also supporting this mission, and I'm truly grateful to all of you. You can find all of my paintings on AttractPassion.com, where, well, look if any of it resonates with you, because, well, maybe it has a unique energy that can serve you in some way. Each of the painting has also its own story that usually just comes with it. It just flows through me when I finish the painting, and that's how all the paintings were created. I saw a vision, I painted it, and, well, now it's out. So go and check it out. And also big thanks to everyone for joining our Patreon community for more exclusive content. See you there, and till next time, one love.